Hello and welcome to this stream. Um, Sorry for doing random streams, but it kind of all depends on time and what I happen to be actually doing. Anyway, I want to do kind of a mixed bag of things today. I I'm going to go back to my steampunk residence that was ongoing. The last couple of streams have been about that, and I've had a really good response for the the instructional video I did about physics for Second Life. Um, I won't be going into Second Life today, I don't think, because they obviously have a major problem. I was getting like frame rates today of less than 10, and it was just unworkable. So I suspect that after yesterday's restart that things are probably not really very good today for some reason. I am going to be sharing my screen, my whole screen today, and the reason for that is because I'm going to be flitting in and out of various different things. I'm going to cover a lot of things today, and one of the things I do every few years is I go back over some builds that I made previously. And this one you're looking at on the screen, I did this 4 or 5 years ago. It's kind of a step up from my original shop, which I thought looked really, really good and was actually quite popular. And then I was inspired, as you always are with a lot of things. And what I'll show you is I was inspired by, there's lots and lots of things around Second Life. Now I got inspiration for my own shop from this. Okay, now my shop doesn't look anything like this, but I like the front, the actual shop front part, you know and the lamp and things like that. So there's kind of, I just sort of take screenshots as I go around, and I thought, wow, I really like the way that this window's been done. And there's all sorts of things. Obviously there's an awful lot of kind of realistic. Anyone who knows buildings here in the UK, I mean, this is how our buildings look. I mean, this is actually how they are. So, but there was details like the handle, um, and the simplicity of the mesh here. I really liked it. A lot of it was all to do with texturing. Um, so the reality is with art. Oh yeah, and what I got here was an inspiration about the sign. So it's the same with all art, really. There's very, very little nowadays that's original. I don't agree with copying things absolutely 100%, but you can be inspired by other people, right? I think that's the key thing that we need to remember, is that inspiration as humans is actually, you know, that's where we get our ideas from. Other people have come up with things. And of course, I got inspiration here about these windows and the simplicity, almost the complexity of them, how they look so good, and yet mesh wise they're actually quite simple. So I was, this is where I got my inspiration about the sign you're going to see in a minute. Obviously, there was like various textures and things, and here we, I love this. The realism of it is actually quite interesting. It's actually quite neat. And then on the inside, these kind of um no, they're not planks, are they? They're beams, the beams that are on the inside, which are always quite good. And this is a carriage that I actually made. And you kind of resed it in world. And when I think back, and this is going back a long time. I mean, I think I did this carriage, I don't know, it's got to be well over 7, 8 years ago. You know yeah, I think actually, if I remember rightly, I think it is, I think that is my pillar, my lamp. That's a lamp that I made. Just done so much stuff over the years. So I want to. Here we go. Now, this is something I want to cover today because I didn't actually design this on this kind of Victorian style shop. I didn't do this in Blender. I did this with SVG files, you know, and I'm going to go through that today because one of the things I want to design is a whole range of different types of steampunk themed cogs, right? And you try and do that, in Blender. I don't know whether anyone's ever tried doing it in Blender, designing a cog. It's not that easy, and if you want to do 12 different designs of cogs, that's going to take a long time. And I can share how I do this kind of thing. um, Now, the beauty with using SVG files is that it kind of gives this imperfection kind of style to it, which when you're designing old stuff, you don't want things to be absolutely perfect, you know? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. And then this, of course, was the texturing that I put on this kind of shop, you know. And again, because it was actually quite a few years ago when I did this, um, I know that I had, and this was relatively more complicated than the other shop, that the other original shop. I don't know whether I got a picture of the original shop. I don't know. Yeah, I've kind of dumped things all over the place. I think the funeral carriage, again, inspiration. I looked at all sorts of steampunk themed, you know, inspiration, and I thought, you go through these things and you think, well, I like that. I like the wheels on that one, and I like the seat on the front of that one, and what you do is you just take the bits and pieces of inspiration, and you create your own. I think in the end, I modeled mine more on this kind of funeral carriage. And if we look at the funeral carriage I produced, you know, it's kind of the same. It's on the lines of that, you know. It's pretty neat. Some of these carriages, or hearses we call them, are very, very elaborate. You don't really see these being used anymore, which is a shame. This was a model, obviously, I think someone else did. Yeah, quite. So that's something. Um, let's see if I can find out where my townhouse is. No, it's not there. It's finding out where I put it is the thing, and I've done so many things. Yeah, it's my castle. Woodman Cottage. Now, this is something else that I would like. Oh, of course, there's nothing in there. No images. This was a massive build years ago. absolutely huge for Second Life. I built the surround to an island, um, and these I kind of this was what I designed, and yeah, it was the surround to Neo Victoria Sim. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of some views. You know, it was absolutely as low poly as it could possibly be, but it was to make it look like when you stood on the sim that you didn't just have an expanse of sea, that actually it went beyond that. So when you walked anywhere near the end of a sim, it actually looked like, you know, there was a town and houses and villages and, you know, graveyard, and that was a massive build. I don't know how long ago that was now. Okay, so that was 5 years ago. Yeah, it was a long project for the owner of the sim. And again, you know, you just grab lots of inspiration and whatnot. But I don't think. And then I designed this as well. This is a pier and lighthouse. Yeah, God, it's just amazing how much how much you do over the years. You know, as I produced like just simple models. See, here's an example of the edge of the sim, and then you know you can actually go out quite far into the sea. But yeah, oh, this was a big project as well. Steamship, a steampunk steamship there, and again, I would love to revisit this. I was okay with this. I wasn't 100% happy with it. It ended up being a massive land impact, and I knew that I could try and get it down. And of course, since then, I don't know how many years ago this was either. This is probably, yeah. So this is going back about, I would say, 5 or 6 years. Um, there's my lighthouse and a version of the ship. I think fairly cut down. You know, put into the sea. And this is the texture for the ship. I would do all this completely different now. It's quite interesting. Yeah, I called it Neo Britannia. I would do this so much differently now, and this is again, I think, a project that I would love to revisit, because I know I can bring not only the land impact down, but also my skills in designing, I think, have and texturing have improved. And of course, this is the problem when you're doing Blender. You know, sometimes in almost a very short period of time, you'll design something, you know, and 6 months later, you'll look back at it and think, "Wow, that's actually quite bad," but it's not bad because you know you do your stuff. Um, well, this I had a go at designing some mushrooms. This was obviously a Grant Abbott. Grant Abbott. If you don't know who Grant Abbott is, you need to follow him on YouTube. I have learned so much from Grant Abbott. He is amazing. He's kind of my hero with regard to Blender. Now this medieval cottages. Now I'm going to show you something else in a little while, but yeah, I've tried over the years to perfect a medieval cottage, and again had huge issues with physics years and years ago, and I gave up on it. I got seriously frustrated and just gave up. I just thought I really just can't be bothered, you know, and just gave up on it. Where are we going now? I'm trying to actually find um I'm trying to actually find Green Dragon? What on earth? Oh, yeah, I remember this. Wow, that's bringing back some memories. Wow, that's really bringing back some memories. Greek temple. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going really down memory lane here. I designed this Greek temple. I think it was in when Second Life started to allow mesh, right? I was on that. I think I was already using Blender before then, but I was really into that, and this was, I remember, was one of the very first things that I had done. I made it in life, in world rather, using Prim before, and yeah, it was good, and the it was like a Greek temple that had fallen apart and was under the sea, and it was used as a prop in roleplay. And I thought it looked really, really good. I mean, these are some of the textures for it. So I had, you know, I can't remember that I studied Greek temples and I knew all the names of the various different parts. And but again, we're talking quite a long time ago now. Can I tell the age of this? 2014. Okay, this was 2014. I don't know when they started bringing in. When did Second Life start bringing in? Oh, we're going down memory lane today. Come with me on a journey down memory lane. 3D models. Okay. Introduced to Second Life. Okay, so it was August 23rd specifically, but it doesn't say what year. Can we tell what year it was? Okay. It's interesting. It doesn't actually say what year, but we know it's on August 23rd of all things. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know when it brought that in. Interesting. Why does Google then tell me it was on the 23rd of August? Okay, can't find it. I don't know. Maybe somebody who's watching this video knows when it was brought in. It doesn't seem to actually. Just every search seems to just keep saying August 23rd. Yeah, but I know it was August 23rd, but what year? Don't know. I don't know. I really honestly, I just can't remember. I really honestly can't remember. It must have been around 2014. It must have been around 2014 when they brought that in. Okay, so they started talking about mesh in 2013. Interesting. Okay, maybe it was 2013 then. Yeah, 2013, 14, and 15, somewhere around that time. I know it was pretty early days of mesh coming in that I started making things, and I started off with very, you know, very simple stuff, you know, getting my head around how it all worked. And you know, and I guess game developers just jumped on the bandwagon because, you know, it just exploded. I remember that. Is another one of my builds. So obviously this is, you know, fancy grave brought in. I think I put a skeleton in there as well, and kind of slightly skewed the lid. Yeah, it's interesting. Cloth effects and materials. I've got Gothic buildings. Yeah, I can tell by the textures that I need to revisit some of this stuff. Again, you know, I looked at inspiration. So one of the things I wanted to master was this, you know, this kind of Gothic window. This is not my building. Okay, these are just ideas. So this was obviously on a sim somewhere. You know, and I quite like the simplicity of it. My goodness, I tried doing the roof on this. It was horrendous. But I loved, you know, I loved the building, the simplicity of it. You know, designing this kind of thing, you know, really pushed skill set. I don't know whether I did a picture of my own. So I did arches and I did windows, and yeah, I did all sorts of stuff. And now I've got Gothic arches, no gold picture frame. Oh, here, what was this? Gondola. That's not mine. I don't know quite what that is. Fleur de lis, floors. Okay. Diamond ring. Yeah, this is quite good as well. This is just the textures for a diamond ring. Cushion. Yeah. A cup with holes for some reason. Cottage with a fence. Okay. Interesting. Columns. Yeah, so again, you know, you look at inspiration for things like columns and you know, different friezes and styles and you know, yeah, that kind of. I've always believed that if you want to do something, and I can't be the only person that thinks this. You know, if you want to be good at something, right? You know, you want to model something, and I see models of stuff everywhere, right? Oh, here's another one of mine. So again, you know, this is, I love castles. I absolutely love castles, and this came from the inspiration of this here. So this was the only image I could find of this kind of style of building, which I thought, and it was like a model of some sort. And so I kind of modeled something, you know, a little bit fatter and bigger. And this is another building I would love to go back and revisit. I kind of started stuff off and then never finished it off. But yeah, I know some people who do castles in a big way. I love this kind of thing, you see. I would love to model this. You know, this is an interesting building. I think this is actually a clay model that someone's done. And I know you can buy kits to build, you know, mesh models of castles and stuff. So candle holder, cage, yeah. Bridges. Yeah, I've done a Japanese bridge. See, I'm not very good at actually. People keep saying to me I should put my stuff somewhere, you know, images of my stuff, and I just haven't. I just don't think my stuff is really that good. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for... Okay, whatever's in there, I need to copy that. Okay, right, this has been very useful to go through here. 3D frames. Yeah, like picture frame type thing. Armchair, atmospheric. Yeah, I played around with some atmospheric stuff. Weird, you know, again, just got to experiment really. So a pile of logs. Okay. I know I've been asked about doing I'm going to do 2 more instructional videos. One about using an SVG file type and bringing that into Blender and working with the data that you get from an SVG file. It is very, very interesting and very fascinating, actually. Yeah, I played around with plants and stuff. I think, oh, this is a Sculpey? Wow, how far back is that going? That's going back to 2014. I think it was around 2014. This was me doing some logo stuff for somebody. I think it was about 2013, 2014 that I started really getting into using Blender for a purpose. Okay, so one of the ways that I render bot 3D models, I don't know who that is. It's not mine. Rocks. Oh yeah, I must have designed rocks at some point. Or a rock. Pyramid of Giza. Radiation. Yeah, I played around with some script stuff, which was quite good. And my vampire room. Skeleton. I must have played around with a skeleton of some sort. I have no idea. I know I've played around with skulls before. Interesting. This is one thing I've been really clocks. Of course, steampunk and clocks go hand in hand. Cogs and you know all that kind of thing. You know, yeah, I made a box up once that had a lid on it and some fancy textures and things, and it locked you in if you went inside the box and all that kind of stuff. Used as props. I made a lot of props. Street lamps. Okay, so yeah, I've made some lamps over the years. And I modeled off of this lamp and then produced this lamp. And then no, that's not mine, but this double lamp is mine, and I've made quite a few sort of street lamps over the years. And this is what I'm doing, obviously. So this is my what I'm calling my steampunk residence, and obviously we know about the inspiration for that. But this is the castle that I produced. I made 2 versions, sort of a really, really big one with 4 or 5 floors. So it had a cellar, ground floor, and 3 other floors. And then the smaller one, I took one of the floors away because some people didn't, and of course the land impact on that was very low. But you can see there's my avatar down the bottom there, and my avatar is nearly 2 meters high, so you can kind of get an idea of the size of some of these buildings. That's what I'm using as my inspiration. Uh, and this is where we're at now on that residence. So, and I've still got quite a bit of work, which I would like to try and do today, to try and get this up to a point where, and we might even do some texturing on this, which I think the texturing on it is going to be relatively simple. But I would like to try and get the texturing done on this if I can. Steampunk stuff. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I made something based on this as well one year. This kind of steampunkish end of the world, what do they call it? You know, uh, post-apocalyptic, where this was represented by a plant or a miniature tree inside a glass dome, and I actually produced. I think this is it here. There we go. So I actually produced this as a role play kind of thing, and this is what I made, which was quite good. It was a static object, and which could have gone beyond being a static, but again, we're talking quite a long time ago. That's quite a few years ago now. I called it a Neo Victoria Airlec generator. But I got ideas about masks and various other things, and I'm cringing now because I'm looking at the UVs for this and thinking, my goodness, what was I thinking back then? But how long ago is this? 2017. Yeah, so this was 2017. So this is like 8 years ago now. Um, how time flies. I've done steampunk cogs before, and I went through tutorials and such like on Blender, and my goodness, I can remember it just being horrendously difficult. Then I got some inspiration from some cogs from other people, but now I've done my own. So, and I want to share that. It's quite interesting actually what you can do with SVG files. What else have I made? I've made so much stuff. Victorian market stalls. I've obviously not done screen dumps of a lot of my work. Oh, this was something else. These are my own pictures, and these were taken at Swindon, and I actually designed a this in Blender, and it's also in Neo Victoria on one of the piers there, which is quite good. Bulb, I don't know. Breathing dome, gas mask. Okay. I did play around with Substance Painter at one point, and I absolutely loved the program. And then I think Adobe bought them out or something. And like most things, unfortunately, when these big corporations buy out these really lovely pieces of useful tool software, I then stopped. I just couldn't be bothered. Of course, everything with them is subscription based, and yeah, no, thank you. Wooden beams. I've done various different wooden beams. I've done wooden barrels, more wooden beams. Wow, I've just done so much stuff over the years, and this is only stuff that I've done screen dumps of. I mean, I've done loads more things that I've just literally made, brought it in world, and just kind of left it there. Victorian houses. This is my house. This is my Victorian house. Oh, that's where it is. Okay. Yeah, I've not taken screenshots of it. Interesting. Interesting. So Victorian house, this was what I did. I designed. This was like a, you know, a really old Victorian fireplace stroke ovens. You know, this was all in Victorian house. Again, I gave up on this because of the oh, I did show this. This was, yeah, this I gave up on this because of, again, the physics. I hadn't really mastered the physics to go into Second Life. Again, when was this? Oh, no, that was 2021. Let's... Oh, maybe it was 2021. So it's only 4 years ago I did this. Yeah. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this, and it was just such a shame because I gave up on it. Don't know what version of Blender this was. Yeah, version 2.9. Wow, so that's actually quite a few years ago now. Or it could have been that I was still using version 2.9 because I remember some of the plugins that I had didn't work with the newer versions or something. I know there was a reason why I stayed with that particular version. Of course, an awful lot of people, and I still know people who stayed with 2.8. Yeah. So what I use is PureF. Okay, which reminds me, I really need to move those files that I found. Let me see if I can move those PureF files into my PureF. There we go. Okay, so I found PureF. Where was it? Here we go. Oh my goodness. Right. Okay, I'm gonna move those over there because that's got all my my nice stuff on it. But anyway, this is going to be my next building after I finished my steampunk residence building with texturing and all of that, and I'm happy with it. I'm kind of leaning towards these ones on the top right hand, you know, the two on the top right hand side. I don't think my mouse shows up. I don't think my mouse is showing up, is it? No, it isn't. What is that then? Why is that? Is that a... Is that a... Why isn't that showing up then? Bear with me 1 minute. Doesn't seem to be an option. Interesting. Ah, there we go. Right, okay. It is an option. It's under the actual setting. So you should now see my mouse. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards these. These appeal to me. I like these. But I also like some of these other inspirational things. I quite like this one, bottom right hand corner as well. And I like this series, whoever this artist is. Uh, you know, I quite like this kind of really noisy. So this is let's give credit to I don't know, Ben something something. I can't read that name. I don't read that. But again, kind of steampunk themed style, almost caricature sort of buildings. Okay. But yeah, and you know, I quite like this sort of style. I like this style. Beauty with PureRef is you can zoom right in on stuff, which is really good. So you can, you know, when some of the low res stuff, it starts to break up, but you can actually see the detail. And so I like the way somebody's put this in, and then you can zoom back out again. But I you know, I love this kind of style. Again, you know, good for inspiration. I like this one here as well. I like all of them. That's the problem. But I do these two here are the ones that really appeal to me, and I think I will. Um, I like both of them. I actually quite like the one on the left. I mean, you know, this is an artist's work. Um, they haven't put their watermark on it or anything, and I don't know who the artist is, so obviously this is not my work. But I love it for inspiration. And to make it look like this in Blender would just be. I mean, if I was just modeling and literally all I was doing was modeling, I could probably replicate a lot of this run down, haphazard, you know, imperfections that arise on here. But um, to bring it into Second Life, so this is my next building. This is my next building board that I'm going to be working from. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. So I wanted to work on this, and what I wanted to do was to revisit this building. It's not that high in faces, right? Or tries. So it's like 10,000, and I think most of that detail is coming from it won't be coming from inside the building, because the building is pretty simple. The roof is only 53 faces. The actual building itself is 66. Why is it? Oh, of course, it's got all the cutouts for the windows in it. And I removed all the texturing on this, or did I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I removed all the textures. I would like to try and start the textures off from scratch. Um, I wasn't really that happy with the way the texturing was done when I first started. And the other thing that I want to revisit is these windows, because I think, yeah, you see, that's ridiculous. These windows are ridiculously high in mesh count. Now, of course, all I did was I designed one, right? I designed probably this one here, and then just replicated it and produced these kind of. But yeah, I can see that yeah, there's probably more faces on this than there really needs to be, and I think also the detail is too high. So I might even go back and just remove it's just too much detail. These windows are lovely, they're fine. This is what I designed in SVG. Yeah, and then the door is nice. I want to check out the stairs. You know, I just want to check out all of this really. um and then I did this. How much is that? Oh my goodness. That's 300. See, I look at these things now and I think, oh my God, it's just too much. Too much detail. Way too much detail. How much is this? Yeah, so again, I need to redesign this, because you know, this is crazy. There's way too many faces on that. Look at the chain. Yeah. I know I didn't bring it into Second Life because it was just too big. I mean, you know, the face count on all of this is a bit crazy. I mean, it's 10,000. I don't think I would actually be able to bring that whole building into Second Life at all. But I want to revisit this. So it's just literally, and of course the other thing is, I think I've organised it, considering it was done a few years ago. I've organised it pretty cleanly. So I've got like the different collections. So, and of course, the other thing was because at some point I was having real difficulty doing things like putting stairs and cutting holes in floors and getting the physics for that right. Um, you know, I want to revisit this basically. I really want to revisit this. And I do remember learning about beveling and making custom bevels with this particular building, and you know, producing this kind of over the door sign. So I might actually just revisit this whole thing and redo it. Bring the countdown. Yeah, bring the countdown. So yeah, come for the ride. I'm just literally just going to be chilling out, and I really felt like doing some Blender stuff today. I wanted to yesterday, but time just slipped by, and I just ran out. I just literally ran out of time. But I do like the fact that I did some detail on this door, and I actually produced a proper little door handle and everything. Yeah. I think this probably is a little bit too much detail for a door, but I know I can probably. I see this is crazy. This is 91 faces. Why is it 91 face? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Too much on the beveling, and also it doesn't look particularly good. I need to tidy this up. This is not really very maybe it may be quicker for me to actually just redesign the stairs rather than reworking. Sometimes it's easier to just, you know, redesign something. So, oh, stuff that I can see that I haven't done, like applying scale. The background noise, by the way, is from. Let me give credit to where I get this from, and we're allowed it to play this stuff because there's no license for it, and it's from mynoise.net, and it's Primeval Forest, which I really love that website just for producing, you know, really nice calming background. Um, so yeah, let's where is this? Okay, so this is front steps under main building. Ooh, what have I got? I got snapping on, right. Oh, sorry, I haven't put screencast keys on. before I start going crazy on doing stuff, because I know people like seeing the keys. Right, I'm gonna bring that up to that level. Actually, do you know what? Everything seems to be too high. Let's bring everything down. Just bring this down to the same. I'm just going to make it the same size. There we go. Actually, break that about there. Right, so that's roughly the same size. It is definitely the same size now, pretty much. Okay, so I'm going to take an edge. Of course, like, I'm flying through this stuff now. I can remember before having to make references to cheat sheet, what they call cheat sheets, the keyboard layouts and stuff like that, because I just couldn't, I never really figured out what what all the keys were, and of course that again comes with time, doesn't it? So we're going to apply the scale. So we want the steps to be about that high. We want custom. We want steps preset. Too much. Okay, right. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 segments, 6 segments, I think it is. Yeah. Let's do that again 1 minute. All right, so if we just refresh that, we then get a new look of steps. So that's actually quite good. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Is it only 4 steps? No, it's a little bit lower than that, isn't it? So we need one more. So let's just apply that again. Sometimes I've found that you have to keep doing it. So why? There we go. It's better. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly. Let me isolate that out 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and the bottom bit we'll just have to get rid of. Okay, so we've got that. Always get this funny thing at the bottom for some reason. Yeah, so I've not really ever found a way of getting perfect steps with that beveling, customized bevels. But it's fine. It works. So let's just tidy up this mesh. What tends to happen is this, as far as I can make out, and I've never really come to I've never really found out why it does this, but this kind of funny face here actually comes from this edge, comes to this edge, and goes back underneath all the way to the back. And I've never really figured out why. See, it's a face. There's almost like two faces there. So there's that face and that face, which we will get rid of. And then we'll get rid of this. No. You see, again, I don't know. I think the way I've done it before is what I've done is this vertex here is correct. So what I normally see, look at that again, right? Look at the way it seems to do it. I don't know why, but anyway, the way I've normally done it is just merge these. Yeah, and we end up with this again. It's really quite a mess. Again, you know, I probably need to really look at a tutorial of some sort and figure out you know, but it doesn't take that long to do, to clean it up. Okay. I need to get rid of this face. And I don't know why. Yeah, so we've got rid of that one. We don't need that face. It looks to me like there's a... It is strange. It is strange. Anyway, it doesn't take much to clean it up. There we go. So now we've got a considerably less... we've got 12 faces. We've gone from 91 to 12. Now, I do need to bring this out a little bit. I do need to, because these steps were designed to come to the front of the, excuse me, the front of where the, you know, the windows are. I just had a thought it would be really nice if there was a railing went up there. Ooh, this is the trouble with Blender, is that you just think of more and more and more things. Just make this slightly bigger. Yeah, that's kind of... Whoa, what is that doing? Right, there we go. Okay, that'll be about right. I don't know if that goes in very, very slightly. There we go. That's nice. That's nice. And now I think it would be a good idea to... I mean, a bevel does actually look quite nice on these edges, but I don't want to do them too big. Can I do all of them in one go? Oh, I can. No, I don't want it to be stairs. How can I cancel this? P? I don't want profile. P, no. Profile type Z. There we go. Ooh, no. Clamp, no. Hidden seam sharp. How do I get rid of the I don't really want the okay, so let's just do this. I don't really want it to be, I want it to be that's not what we want. Segments, we only want one. There we go. Segments, possibly two. But I don't want this whole step thing. There we go. How do you reset this? How do you reset it? Default. Dear oh dear. Okay, maybe. No, I don't want vertices. Super ellipse. Okay, let's cancel that 1 minute. Let's undo this. Right, let's do that again. Ooh, when I do the scroll wheel, it's doing it on the inside. Why is it? It's creating A M. Z. Okay, but now it's just creating O. No. V. No. No. Wow. Okay, what have I done that's upset the bevel? Loop slide. Themes sharp lighter. Arc. No. Inner arc. No. Grid fill. No. Oh, what have I done? That's what we want. Cornice molding. Cornice molding? No. Crown molding. Kind of. Support loops. Reset curve. Reset view. Preset default. Oh dear, what have I done? What have I done? I've screwed up my bevel. How do you reset this? I don't know. Toggle profile clipping. Reset view. What have I done? Cornice molding. Interesting. Okay. Well, this is cornice molding. Default should be something like this. I mean that's basically what I want is that. Okay. Is that it? Is that what I've done? Okay. All right. Sometimes you have a mental block, you know. Um so you do the smoothing and then it comes out quite nice. So now what I need to do is be clever about how I bring this out. Now, of course, I think where I screwed up on my first one was I put the bevel actually on the edge, and I don't think that's a particularly good idea. So let's grab... Actually, do you know what? In fact, why don't I just... let's do this first. Let's shape this first, then put a bevel on. Right. Yeah, I know what I did there now. Yeah. Yes, I can remember now what I did. So I need to go down from this step and yeah, I remember now I had this issue before. Is it just those? No, we need to go back up one here. Now I found out actually, I was watching some tutorials yesterday. I found out that you can actually, if you look sideways on to this stairs, and I can't remember what the commands were, but when using the knife tool, you can actually cut through all the mesh that is behind where you're cutting, which I thought was really, really good. Obviously for this, we're only talking about 3 things, so it's not... But yeah, I can see if you're trying to cut through an awful lot of mesh, you want to go all the way through. You don't want to keep going around doing... I mean, that's all I'm doing on here. Right, we want to grab that, grab that. Let's go back here, and I want to make this just basically the same size. There we go, there we go, there we go. We were getting some really weird stuff there before. Grab those two, that one and that one. I don't think I did anything with that, but of course, you know, we needed clean faces, and yeah. So now I think I can apply bevel, and I should now my bevel should it should be reset back to the way it was. Yay. Right. I don't want to go any I only want to put a small bevel on this just to make it look a little bit softer, really. Now I could you see I actually quite like making things look like they're worn as well. So, you know, I was kind of thinking along the lines of let's just adding a few, probably add a few loop cups, maybe. Yeah, maybe that much. Maybe that much. Okay. Right, so we've added a few loop cuts in there, and what I was thinking of doing was just making the stairs look a little bit worn. You know, just like altering the look a little bit. I like the look of worn steps, you know. Gives it a bit of character. And I think as you get the top, you know, you're going to end up with sort of, you know, a couple of sides of this being, let's just alternate this a little bit. Don't it make I don't just want to break it up, make it look a little bit more worn than anything. Just give it that little bit of character. I think possibly those ones and those ones. Yeah, just, you know, so that it just doesn't look so clean. There we go. That looks good. I like that. I like that. Right. I think we can get rid of the original stairs now, which didn't look particularly good. So we've now got stairs that look a little bit more, let's just delete them. Okay, I'm going to be ruthless. Let's save this. Right, I think we've now got steps that look a little bit more characteristic. Yeah, they're not so even, right? I'm happy with the door. I'm happy with the walls. The floor is good because it's at the right level. I need to cut something in this so that I can put stairs up there. And it will only really be so basic. They don't need to be really fancy stairs at all. And then go the same. See, there's no windows or door or anything behind this building because it will literally only be used in a row of houses, you know, a row of shops, right? I need to really get rid of some faces on these pipes. They don't need to be that. Oh, that is actually both pipes. So they're about 150, 164. Okay. I might have a look at that. That definitely needs to come down. That really does need to come down. Okay. Roof. Let's look at the roof. I don't think the roof was... Again, I've probably put detail on the roof that doesn't really need to be there, but I don't think the roof is actually that bad at all. Let's just look and see if we can tidy it up a bit. I mean, it's probably... I don't know quite why I've got these here. That one, I don't know why that's there. I think the roof is pretty simple. There's not really. Let's just dissolve that. Just get rid of it. There's no point in having... I think the roof is fine, right? I think the building itself is also fine. Let's just look at the building. Okay, so I know I can delete actually quite a few. I can get rid of quite a lot of faces on this. Do I need to? I'm not going to bother. I mean, it's there's not a huge amount. I would certainly do this slightly different now. Cutting holes and things. But I think that's fine. Let's just look at the drain pipes. I don't know. I don't know. Do I really need to do anything on this? I mean, they're octagonal. They probably don't need to be octagonal. I could probably cut down a few things on there, but is that just gonna... Maybe behind it, actually. Let's see. Is that going to make a huge difference? Probably not. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference, really. I mean, I could get rid of one. I could get rid of one, dissolve one edge. We just literally goes around the bottom. Let's just see whether that's going to really... Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. Let's just get rid of one edge. that bit is facing the building, so it's not going to be hugely. Now there's a setting that I know is not. I am keeping an eye on chat to see whether anyone comes in. I'm not expecting anyone to really come into my chat today. Maybe later, but not during the day, because I'm a nobody messing around with Blender, and there's probably people are much more busy. There is a setting that I thought it was here. Okay. Was it here? No, I got it on orbit around selection. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Right, I'm going to try and decimate this if I can. In fact, you know what? I think I actually tried doing this before. But of course, that was a few years ago. And it is possible that the decimate is now... let's do... That's interesting. Unsubdivide. I don't think I did subdivision on this. It's the chain more than anything, I think, that's causing a lot of the face count. And I think I just overdid the detail on the chain. And again, you don't really need that much detail. Let's just highlight. Let's just highlight the chain and see if I can do a decimate in here. I probably won't get away with a lot, really. But yeah, as I was saying, if anyone comes into chat, then I am kind of looking at chat on a different computer. I think there's way too much detail on this. Right, so let's just play around with this setting. Let's see if we can bring that down without destroying the look of the chain. Ooh. Why is that not doing anything? Interesting. Why is that not doing anything? It's not... Maybe it can't go down any further than that. It's on 0. It should have collapsed by now. Does it have to be the whole mesh? Can it only decimate the whole mesh, not a selection of mesh of the same object? Or something? Oh. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, that dropped drastically from 3,900. So that's interesting. You can't do that on part of the mesh. I don't need that much detail in the chain, to be honest. But I might have to look. I don't want to lose that much detail. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it is doing just the chain. Cool. Wow, that's dropped quite a lot. Let's see how far we can go without destroying the chain. Oh no, it is doing the whole thing. So you can't do part of of an object. So it starts really going down there. Okay. I don't need the chain. It doesn't need to have that much. No, it's destroying. It's destroying the button, my nice bars. I like the curly bars, but I'm not so worried about the chain. Right, okay, so let's separate separate by loose parts. If I remember rightly, each chain link is a loose part. I knew it. Okay, so if I grab that lot. Right. Right. Is not selected mesh. What do you mean? Oh. What is going on there? I don't want that. One of my biggest fears of doing streaming is potentially having someone, and I've said this before on other streams when I've done YouTube as well. What is going on? I don't want all of that. Right. One of my biggest kind of I guess, you know, because there are going to be some real experts out there that are going to be looking at me doing this and going, what the hell is this guy doing? Yeah, this is not my full-time job. And so active object, oh, okay, sorry, now it's different. Right, there we go. Separated the object. Now we can apply. So this is already applied. Oh, we don't want it on there. Okay, we don't want it on there. We don't want that on there. We don't want it on there. Don't want it on there. Okay, right. We got there. So I really only want the decimate on here. Let's get rid of faces on this because this is what's creating huge amounts of so we've dropped this down from 4,200 and we're now dropped that down 2,444. So let me just see if we can decimate this a little bit more. I don't want to make it look really bad, but it's not the focus of the sign and it's not the focus of the door or the house. So okay, I think that's enough. So we've dropped that down to 1,300. I'm happy with that. I am very happy with that. Yeah, okay, that's good. So if we pick up the sign, and we want this, and we're going to join that back together again. There we go. Okay, I can alter the physics of this object before I bring it into Second Life, and then yeah, that's dropped down a lot. Okay, that's dropped down a lot. I like it. So we're now only 2,000, just over 2,000 faces. That is so much better. Right. So we dropped faces down. We dropped some faces down from the sign. The drain pipes. We've redesigned the steps. And we've given them some character. If anyone's come into the chat, basically I'm going back over some builds that I've done quite a number of years ago, between 5 and 10 to 11, 12 possible years, and going back and just revisiting some of the stuff I made before. Yeah, that looks good. That's okay. It's just steps. Most of it's going to be hidden. Drink of water. Yeah. Okay. Now, the big bit to this. I'm happy with actually the rest of this building. The big bit for me is if we get rid of the signs, possibly the main building. I've got to redo the windows. Redoing the windows is quite key to the success of this. Now, I think all I can do is I can either redesign the window from scratch or spend some time going through bringing this into Second Life. I know that I can probably bring that land impact of that whole window down to 1 or 2, but there's a lot of there's too much detail in this. I feel, having seen other people do this kind of style of window, I've got way too much detail in there. Yeah, it's way too much detail. For a start, it doesn't need beveling, and I know that this can be brought down quite a lot. I think personally, I think it would be better for me to redesign this from scratch rather than trying to rework this. I don't think it's a really very good idea, although I only need to do it once. Oh, decisions. This is the trouble when you look back over your own work. I don't know. The glass is fine. The window roof, as it were, I think is fine. What's increasing the faces big time is this base. But I think that's fine. What's taking up a lot is the frame that's going around. And I don't think it needs to be beveled. What happens? Right, okay, so we've got... Oh, that's interesting. What if I decimate it? Is it going to just destroy it? Oh, okay. Do you know what? I think, right, okay. Decisions. What's going to be the best use of my time? I suspect that if I just got rid of... If I got rid of this, I think that would cut the whole and it would just be flat. Let's try this. It doesn't need to be a beveled front. If I wasn't bringing in this to Second Life, perfect. But it doesn't need to be beveled. The other thing I'm finding at the moment is the zoom factor when I scroll in and out. For some reason, look, I'm either here or I'm there. Which, again, I don't know quite what I've done. I've done something to do with the scroll zoom level or something. So if I just get rid of those loops and then do the same. Now the inside hasn't got those loops. Okay. Let's just dissolve those edges. Cool. That worked. Nice. So we dropped the faces. Mm, 387. Whoopee, we got rid of 40 faces. But then the other thing I know I want to do, I don't need this edge here or that edge because this just disappears into the wall, and it's just not, it's not really required. So this is mesh that's just not needed. In fact, that whole piece isn't needed. Cool. Yeah. Ooh. That's left over. Why are you left over? Hmm? Cute. Okay. That's brought things down a little bit more. What is going on in my zoom level? Is there a view? Tool settings. Why is my zoom level so high? Look. It's like I'm jumping about. I don't know whether that's a setting somewhere. It's like I'm jumping about 5 meters every time I scroll. I can obviously, you know, use Shift or Alt to accurately, but that's just crazy. Is there a setting? Is there a setting somewhere? I'm sure there must be a setting somewhere. Scroll, zoom, hang on. Good old YouTube. There's got to be a setting somewhere. I've changed. Oh, here we go. Straight away. Okay. Control middle click for precise zooming. Control middle click. Ooh. No. It's the amount of zoom I want to adjust. Orbit and pan. Oh. Okay. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. How do you... Okay. How do you... Oh, really? That's all it was? Just 0? Okay. Right, don't think I can do much more with that, really. I quite like the way that that's done now, and I know I can bring the land impact of that down. If I do the physics correctly on here, I can bring the land impact down. So now that I've reduced this down, have these got all different materials? Yeah, okay. Let's join that back up again. Uh, what I've got here... okay. That's fine, that's fine. And I know these are just smaller versions of this one. So let's just line that up. Okay. Okay, we're good. What I do need to do... We'll just duplicate those up there for now. I need to grab... This is a separate... I need to grab the glass and the frame from these. You know what would be really neat? No, okay. Forget that. Right, separate by material. Okay. No, not by material, because there's quite a number of things. So separate by separate parts is what we need to do. Okay. I need the frame. Oh no. Oh no, you're kidding me. Really? I thought I put all this together. Oh, come on. Okay, that would explain something. This is where you learn how you used to do things, you know, when you look back at some of your old builds, and it is quite funny. It is quite funny because you think, why did I do it like that? I don't understand why I did it like that. I made all these separate. You're kidding me. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is now delete this and delete this. Right, because we've now got a better solution. This should bring down my face count quite a bit once I've got all these things in place. Okay, that's good. Right, so bring that over this way. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Where are we on the scale of window? Okay, that's pretty good. I'll just line that up with the hole that's behind in the wall. Okay. What are we on now? 5,900. Okay, so we've dropped. We've gone down, I believe it was something like nearly 11,000 faces, and we've now dropped that down to 5,900. Okay, I'm happy with that. I am happy with that. Sorry, I am checking chat, and I don't know whether anyone is. Is anyone saying anything apart from some kind of spam? First time chat. Okay. First time chat, and all you say is something. Okay. Right. I think this is doable. This is now doable. What about down here? Ooh, okay. Yeah, again, too much detail. Let's decimate it. Let's decimate. Bring this down. Thing I like about the doing these old buildings and Victorian style buildings is they shouldn't really look too perfect, you know, because like we're in steampunk Sims, and nothing's really perfect. Okay, so that's brought the face count down a little bit. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of halved it really. That's good. So let's do the same with this one. So we need to drop this right down. About 154 is about right. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. That's about as much as it can go. That is about as much as it can go. I mean, I've deleted faces that are not really required. We don't need the the face that's on the bottom of there. In fact, actually, we don't need it on the top either, but we certainly don't need it down there. Okay. Nearly there. Nearly there, nearly there. Right. What I need to do now... So the only thing that's left is the steps. I want to produce steps. Stairs. So I'm going to do this. I'm not going to mess around too much with this. Let's do good old-fashioned... how big is that? It's 3. Okay, so let's make it 3 wide. 3 wide is it's fine, and the depth, well, let's make it 7, right? Roughly. So I'm gonna go back to using my good old-fashioned Boolean method because it works and it's quick and it's fast, and we're only cutting a very simple shape. We're doing a very simple Boolean. So we want to cut through those 2 floors. No, we don't want to cut through those 2 floors. We could have steps going up from the ground floor there, and steps going up from the first floor this side. Add modifier. Oh, hang on. I always do this. Apply the scale. Right, okay. Happy with that. Let's cut a hole. Let's cut a hole. I love the Boolean. Hmm. Okay. Right. Actually, do you know what? Why not? Why did I just do that? Right. Let's just could use that block because that is the exact size of the stairs. Okay. Which way do I want the stairs to go? I think let's go up from the front to the back that way. I think that's probably the best way. So we're going to go up that way. Going to make this pretty simple stairs, to be honest. Right. Let's go here. Hmm? Why? Steps. Oh, come on. Hmm? Steps. Thank you. One big step. Try 24. That's pretty neat because now we've got a landing at the top as well, which is pretty good. I like it. I like it when steps work. When they just work is good. Hmm. I think that's probably more than enough. What if we go 26? Yeah, let's just do 26. Bit too chunky still, but we'll run with that for now. I know what I can do. Okay, so I'm happy with that. The other thing I like about this is that when we do steps like this, is that we've got a nice space underneath. If we go in like so, Sometimes it looks like things are a messy way of doing it, but in fact, actually, there is a messy way of doing it, and I've just done it. Okay, that's interesting because I thought that. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. I screwed that up a bit, but hey. It's interesting because I thought I'd cut into that, but obviously I didn't. Hmm. What's going on? Okay. A long way around to doing something quite quick, but there you go. Sometimes this stuff happens. But anyway, we got our stairs, which is nice. And I don't have to replicate it. Can I not delete that edge? Just dissolve. Dissolve. Oh, there we go. Okay. Dissolve. Okay. Ah, that's why. Okay. Merge. Oh, merge at center. There we go. This is what the problem is. Cute. Sometimes Blender does weird stuff. Or is it me? Okay, I like the stairs. It's very low poly, considering it's stairs. Very, but you know what I mean. It's pretty low. Now all I need to do is remove this. This should be pretty much. If it isn't, then I can raise the floor. Yeah, I'm gonna need to raise the floor so that that can go on there. Oh, do you know what? I could have done that. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Cool. So we're back to this jumping zoom thing again. Why? Oh, there we go. Okay. Why does it keep doing that? Interesting. Okay, right. Oh, that's nice. I like it. I like it. If no one else liked it, I like it. Yeah. That's fine. I mean, it kind of looks a little bit weird, but to be honest with you, I don't think anyone is. Okay, let me. Okay, I'm being a little bit pedantic. I don't think anyone will particularly notice, but hey, let's just do that instead. And oh, okay, that's capped anyway. Okay. The larger sides aren't, but that is because I run a boolean on it. That's fine. This isn't fine because it isn't capped, but I do need to cap it. Okay. Because it will look weird when someone goes up the stairs and they can basically see through the stairs. It's just never really a very good look. Okay, so GZ. We're up, right? We're up. Okay, I like that stairs. Cool. So, if we unhide the main building, right? Can we zoom in? I saw a really neat thing the other day where you can. So the specific video, I think I saved it, where when you're working on an object like this, right? But you want to see inside the object, right? Because obviously it's a house and whatever. And of course, I can hide the whole walls, but I might not want to just hide all of the walls. And I can't remember what the key combination is to just hide part of this. So I can just hide one side of this mesh, which I thought was really, really good. And I can't remember what it was. So it was like you could highlight. How do I get in there? You could highlight kind of two side. Okay, so those two faces, and just hide those faces. And I can't remember what it was. Loop select, picture extrude, zoom view. It was almost like you could just hide. You could just hide shading, weights. I don't know. Show hide, hide selected, unhide selected. You just press H. No, you are kidding me. Okay, I love it. I couldn't remember whether it was that simple or not. Right. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. Okay, so floors are good. We have stairs. We've got a ceiling. Well, there you go. That's just amazing. I need to use that more because I build so many buildings, and this is what I love about Blender. I just love this stuff about Blender, how much you can learn. These little shortcut keys and such like. I mean, save this 1 minute. Okay, I am very happy with that so far. Um, I think we're pretty much there, to be honest. It looks good from here. Um, they're basically just shop floors. Now, I am kind of wondering whether I should put something around here or not. Do I put something around there? We don't need anything there, but it might be an idea to just put something there. I very often find though, especially in Second Life, when you start putting up things like barriers and fences and such like inside buildings, it's such a pain to have to try and walk around it all the time. When realistically, you just go down the hole and you end up on the stairs anyway. Um, I think I might leave texturing this another time. I know the texturing on this was actually quite simple. It wasn't. It was mostly kind of a real dark grey black. If I look back at if I look back here, I don't know whether I got a picture of it. That's my Victorian townhouses and shops. If I look at this, you see most of the inverted commas woodwork was black, and then there was the roof that was black, but I would like to try and do that slightly different. And there was an awful lot of this that was just black, and then there was obviously wooden floors, plain walls on the inside, and then brickwork on the outside. I've got much better textures now, so I would like to try and make this look a little bit more appealing. Drain pipes, steps. Yeah, steps are a bit of a mess, I think. Yeah, I know at the time I wasn't really 100% happy with how this looked. It didn't look particularly polished. Um, hmm. Okay, let's go back to Blender. So, I think it's Alt H to unhide. I love it. Oh, that is just so cool. That is just so cool. I'm going to leave these broken up for now. Although I probably don't need to. Yes, I do need to, because I need to unwrap them. Okay. I might leave. I'm happy with this now. I'm actually I feel so much better after having redone, redone this, and we've brought the face count down a lot. I love the stairs actually, and that was exactly what I wanted to do the first time round with the stairs, was giving them this kind of worn look, you know. Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. I need to have a break. So I'm gonna have a little break for a little while, and I will be back. Okay, sorry that took a lot longer than I was expecting. I needed to get something to eat, and it was just taking a long time to heat up. So anyway, it's kind of cold today, and yeah, a nice soup. What is the temperature today? Temperature today is okay, so it's 4 degrees, feels like 3. So yeah. Right. I'm happy with this. You might hear me eating something. I've got some soup. Some soup. My my wife's very delicious homemade soup. You can't beat homemade food. Okay, I'm good with this. I'm not going to do texturing today, but I feel like this is now up to a standard where I feel happy. I always save different revisions. So we're on K, so we're going to save this to L. That's fine. Okay. All right. So let's open up. Oh yeah. Now I could talk about ambient grunge, which is rather good. Let me just very quickly show you this. Right. I needed a cushion for my. I don't know whether you may have seen earlier my funeral carriage, right? My Victorian carriage. And I wanted to make a cushion that made look like a cushion, right? And I watched a tutorial many years ago actually about how to do this. Now there were some things in there that I thought, well, I don't really understand why that's like that, and it seemed to increase an awful lot of faces and stuff. But it worked, and I thought, do you know what, I just wanted to redesign a cushion for something, and I remembered pretty much the whole of the tutorial. Now I don't know whether it's because when I first did this it was probably Blender 2.9 or 2.8 or something, and now you can make this stuff easier, or whether I just happen to remember it. But it was testament to the fact that the tutorial that I watched was good, right? And I'm sure anyone who knows about Blender and has watched tutorials and remembers stuff and uses stuff and finds it useful, that you remember, you remember things even years later on how to do it, or at least once you've played around with something, you start to remember how something had to be done. And so yeah, I made this, and sort of a leather cushion type thing. And this took me literally minutes. I think less than 5 minutes to do. And I can remember doing the cushion before, and it took me hours. It took me hours to try and figure out how to do it. It's amazing how things have changed. Um, I did this the other day. This was something that I saw. Grant Abbott has got. I can't praise him high enough. I think he is just a brilliant um, teacher, because he is a teacher and there is a big difference, right? Like I was saying about the cushion, there is a big difference between somebody who teaches something Blender, right? And you can probably remember from university, or even you know early school days, where you always listened, and you always learned a lot from a teacher that was just good at teaching, was good at explaining things, but was just really good at teaching. And this was one of his latest tutorials, and I thought, do you know what, that looks a really good little bit of fun, and I just fancied doing it. And yeah, it was really simple to do, and I was quite amazed actually at how quick I was able to do this. So building low poly game assets, it's kind of right up my street. I just wish I could get a job doing this stuff. It'd be amazing. But you know, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. I enjoyed doing this. It was simple, quick, easy, and actually I quite like the effects to it. And what I actually like about his videos, let me get his YouTube channel up on, and then you can see who I'm talking about. You may or may not know him already, but yeah, I think I've watched nearly all of his videos, and it doesn't matter what it's about, even if it's on a subject that I don't necessarily really like, because he does obviously animation and rigging, character building. I'm not into character building, but my goodness, I could just watch him for hours. Let me bring his channel. Here we go. Okay, so this is his channel on YouTube. Highly recommend you subscribe to him if you haven't already. You know, like I did this one recently. I just, these are ones that he's just brought out in the last couple of weeks. And I mean, he's just got, I don't know how many videos he's got, probably hundreds, I would say by now. I mean, I was following him, I was subbed to him. He's got 1.1 thousand videos, so 1100 videos. He's now got 500,000 subscribers. I think when I joined, he had like way less than 10,000 subscribers. But he covers a lot. I learned a lot from him about texturing. I learned a lot from him about animation. And that's not an area that I'm particularly into, but low poly things. He does quite a lot of low poly, and spirals, like you see. Things like spirals, he does these so many tutorials that are just really handy, lighting. Yeah, I just love his videos, and he's just amazing at doing sculpting, retopologizing things, learning about remesh and all of that kind of stuff, low poly rocks. And yeah, I mean it's actually, he's actually one of the best teachers. There's a lot of people that I follow to do with Blender, but for his teaching ability alone, he just wins me. This was interesting, texture painting. Although he did this many years ago, but his like updating, I think a lot of his tutorials from years ago. Yeah, he's good. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. What else did I want to share today? We will go back to the residence. What did I want to go into? Okay, I think different subject. Okay, now I don't know whether an awful lot of people know about SVG files anymore. And I was a big Serif Serif apps. I don't know whether anyone knows about Serif, right? Serif is still going, but they moved away from their old style apps to a new system called Affinity. And I dragged my heels for a long time because I didn't really need their new apps, and their version 1 of their new apps were pretty basic. They were good, but I didn't really use them. I still went back to the old style, and this is the old one, right? And let me show you the old style. Draw Plus, Page Plus, Photo Plus. It was all called Serif products. They were really good, and they're now all free. And I would highly recommend that you go and get them. And even, I mean, if you're not into buying apps, I mean, the apps I use a lot, I buy. But and I still use the old style apps. And I have to use the old style apps still as well as the new ones because the file types were incompatible, right? They didn't. So this is Draw Plus 8, right? So this is a vector graphics program. Vector graphics program that it just worked, and there were some amazing tools, and this went up to version 8, and then they moved over to their systems called Affinity, and I heavily used. I didn't use their photo app. They also had a movie program called Movie Plus, right, which also was an amazing for it in its day. It was an amazing movie editor, right? And I did everything in it. It just worked, right? They had a few bugs at one point towards the end of its useful life, but apart from that, everything just worked. And Draw Plus was just one of those easy vector graphics programs that was actually quite amazing. I mean, back in the day, I used to use Corel. Of course, it got extremely expensive. And I just at one point I thought, I'm not paying this kind of money anymore. I mean, it was just stupidly expensive, and then started on Serif products. Now, scarily enough, I remember Serif products being around back in the day. Probably, I would say the 90s. It's the early 90s, or whenever it started was when I started using, and I'm pretty sure I've still got nearly every version from version 2, something like that. So I've been using it a long time. Now, of course, I use Affinity products, and Affinity version 2, mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing what you can do with it. And yeah, it's truly amazing program. I bought their suite when they had it on special offer with version 1, and luckily for me, they then brought out version 2, which I got a ridiculously low amount of money compared to what it is now. I would highly recommend, if you're looking for a desktop publisher and a vector graphics program and a photo editing program. I actually like all three of them now, and I use their photo editing program really well, and all three apps are integrated. So I'm not sponsored at all by these people, but like a lot of people who love programs that just work, I praise them quite highly. So this is what they produce for both PC and Mac and iPad. And so they've got Designer, which is vector graphics, the photo, and then the publisher was the desktop publishing program. And yeah, so they do all the apps for 160 quid. And I don't know how much Corel costs now, but I don't think you can even get Corel Draw for that money. I used to use so many of their programs before when they were reasonably priced, but of course they're all what's the name now, aren't they? They're all and the other thing I like about Affinity is that it's not subscription, it's a one-off payment, and it's yours, right? So if you don't pay ever again for another upgrade, you still got access to your files. Corel, I don't know how much it is now. How much is it? Special offers, okay, whoopee. Yeah, there you go. Subscription, 240 quid a year. There you go, the whole suite. 1,129. Or the standard, which is 315. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just stupid money. And they've been out for years, and that's in a sale. This one. Absolutely mad. But yeah. Same happened with Adobe. I was an Adobe Photoshop user from the very, very early days, all the way up until I think it must have been, I don't know, probably 2020, early 2000s. And when it was, as soon as they went subscription based, whenever that was, I can't remember when it was. And yeah, I stopped immediately. I just thought, no, I'm not paying that kind of money every single year, and I don't care. All I wanted to use was a Photoshop. That was it. It was just gonna, like, the cost per year was gonna, you know, it was just ridiculous. But people use it. Now I just use this Affinity Photo. I can do everything I want in Affinity Photo. It works fine. Anyway, right, so there is one of the things that you learn about Affinity is that it has an awful lot of predefined kind of shapes and whatnot, and one of them is a cog tool. And so you can control the you can go into the cog, if you like, dynamics, right? You can control the depth of the cogs and the width and all of those shapes, the inside wheel, you know, the inside hole and such like. And so you can produce, I produce these literally in minutes, you know, which was really, really good. So if you use something like Inkscape, right, or Adobe, or any one of these programs where you can produce vector graphics that you can export out as an SVG file, right, it's so simple. I brought all of these into Blender, right? So I exported all of these. You just highlight the whole lot. You go File, Export. You select the file type SVG, and it by default it anything that's you want your SVG file to be black, right? Because then it gives you those clean lines and it, you know, and such like. So you SVG, you can set it quite high resolution if you want. It's not absolutely necessary, but then you just export it out and you save it as an SVG file. And I just created this cogs.svg. Very, very simple. And I'll show you something else that I did. And the sign that we just saw on that other shop, that old kind of Victorian style shop, all I did was you can do something as simple as if I use the pen tool, right? So so I can create a curve, let's say, and this is all I did was I just, you know, very, very simple, just created a curve like that. Don't know whether you can see that, right? So then you can increase the size like so, right? You can then save that as an SVG file and import it into Blender, and it will come in exactly like that. It translates it to a curve. So interesting. Right. The other thing I like about the Affinity apps, excuse me, is that they follow all the same kind of almost commands, like, you know, I can press control and scroll wheel. I can press the space bar and move around. You know, that like it's pretty industry standard now. Sorry, I need to eat. Okay. So if I open, I don't think I saved it, did I? No, I didn't. Okay, right. So we're going to create a new, just general, delete the cube. Right. All you need to do, blank Blender file, you go File, Import, SVG. Okay, you go to where your files are, and I think I've got one called Cogs and Wheels. There. Okay, this is my SVG file of cogs, right? I hope someone finds this useful. I know I use it, and I do tend to find it's actually a lot easier to do this than it is sometimes to do in Blender, right? So these are my curves, okay? Each one of those comes in as a separate object, and look how clean they are, right? And they're basically it's a curve that needs, you know, you need to convert it to mesh, right? So if I take this cogwheel, right, let's just work on one cogwheel and you'll see what happens. So if we go into edit mode, you can see the vertices on there. Okay, it's very simple, very, very simple, but it's a curve. Now you've got a curve object settings here, which you can then increase the geometry. So depth, no, resolution. I've done this actually on, can I do it by object? Fill, no, profile. Don't really want a profile. Default. Oh my goodness, I can make it steps. You are kidding me. Okay. This has changed. Straight edges. Okay. Preset. Wow. Okay. There's been some changes. Definitely. Right. So basically I just want that to be square. No, I wouldn't actually use this to do that, to be honest. I just wouldn't do it. But anyway, if you were, let's say you drew a squiggly line like I did with the sign on that shop. So I did, like, I traced a curve and all the rest of it, and then I just literally brought it into Blender and then just converted it to mesh. So you can see how this is set up. You can see the vertices there, yeah? Right. So you can obviously go in and edit this however you want. You know, you can you can pick up something there and then, you know, play around with it, da 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 da, you know, and everything, it all just still applies to it. But I want to convert this to a cog, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this. I'm not so sure that there's a, oh, there is. Okay, convert to mesh. You can do it from that menu now. Brilliant. What tends to happen is when you convert this from that happens, right? Because what it's trying to do is obviously trying to maintain the level of detail that you brought the SVG in, and it's kind of done this, and it's really a mess. And the first time I saw this, I thought, oh my goodness, what the hell am I going to do? And I just went through trying to delete all these edges, which was, you can see that it's created 624 faces, 1248 edges. Okay, but not to worry, because all you have to do is, can't do it from there, but we can do it from there. No, I think the best way I did it was not unsubdivide. I mean, that does kind of work, but what you need to do is to decimate. This decimate is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so basically you decimate it, and you bring it down and bring it down and bring it down and bring it down, and you have to really go carefully. And then all of a sudden, oh no, okay, so that doesn't seem to work. Or do you have to, no, I keep forgetting you have to do this from object mode. Right, so now we're bringing it right down. See how the faces are dropping like crazy, but the overall shape is staying good. Right, so there is a point at where the cog will start to collapse, and that's it. Right, so if you want to keep the level of detail, I mean, you can actually just drop this right down. I mean, you kind of have to make a judgment call on what the detail level you want. So that could probably be about right. It looks, yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so we now got a face count of 79. We've still got an awful lot of edges that we probably don't really need. If I dissolve these edges, yeah, it doesn't really, so you can just highlight a whole load now. No, okay, it's starting to break that up. That's fine. But you see where I'm coming from. I mean, if you know of an extremely fast way of making cogs, how many cogs did we have? 12? No, 15. So we've got 15 cogs there. If you've got a way of making all those in literally minutes, then I applaud you. There's probably an awful lot of this that we don't really need. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I mean, you could selectively go through and just, there'll be a lot of these that are not really required. But anyway, so all you're going to do now, I'm making this a lot harder than it really is. If you do this with SVG and you're used to doing this, you get into a routine. If I'm going to do all 15 of those cogs, I'm going to get into a routine of doing it, and I will be chucking these out like crazy. So if we clean up, no, it doesn't do anything. Let's flip the normals. Flip the normals. Let's grab this face. Extrude. And bring it up. Boink. There we go. We've got a cog. Now, all of these edges need cleaning up. I mean, you don't need that many edges. We could probably decimate it even further, but You know, you get you get the general idea. You get the general idea. It's very easy. So we're going to convert to mesh. Right, you get this horrendous amount of stuff. Add a modifier, generate, decimate. Bring this right down. We can probably bring it down quite a lot. It depends on the level of detail you want. Well, I would say that's probably about right. We've now got a count of 98. Apply. Alt N. Can't do that there. Alt N. Flip. Extrude up. Boom. Done. You know, I mean, it's literally that easy. And of course I could do that on all of these. If I wanted to make them all the same size, I think you can do multiples. I'm pretty sure you can do multiples. Convert to mesh. Can you do multiples? No, I don't think you can do a multiple decimate on all of these. Can you? No, so only the highlighted one. That's fine. So we just bring the decimation down. Probably on this one we can go fairly low. There we go. Modifier. Decimate. Probably bring that down quite low as well, before it starts breaking up too much. Yeah, it's got curves on the cogs. This one should be fairly simple. Decimate. Bring that right down. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, about there. That is low. 65. Right. See how easy that is? I've got a feeling again we can only, yeah. Flip. Extrude Z. I can't remember now what. But you know, it's relatively quick. Okay, it's relatively quick. So that's SVG files. If you've never played with SVG files, it's very unless of course you're an absolute expert in Blender and you can create pipes and whatever you want, you know, really easily in Blender, then great. But if you're like me and not that good doing freehand or designing cogs, I know what it's like to try and design cogs in Blender. You know, to design a cog like this one in Blender takes a long time. Unless, of course, you're doing it, you know, really quite often, at which point, you know, you may find it really easy to design a whole load of cogs. But I found it easy to do it like this. I've seen people using SVG files of plans of houses, and then retracing. I did it myself once because I thought surely it can't be that easy. And I traced a plan of a house, and you know, a normal house, and it was so easy, it was unreal. So basically, with the plan of the house, what you're going to do is, let's open up a new file. I'll just very briefly show you. Now this is good for Blender, using in Blender to make houses in Second Life, because you're not having to you know, try and line everything up. So let's just grab a picture of a house plan, right? And you just bring this in here. Of course, doesn't want to do that, does it? Can I not just copy and paste? I don't think it will let me. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Right. Okay, so you design, there's your house plan. Okay, so what I would, I mean, it's not particularly good res because I just literally grabbed it off of a web page. But basically what you would do is you would create, you know, things like this. So you'd get your shape. You need to make it black, right? And when you get the hang of Affinity, what you're going to do is you're going to, you know, just do this. You're going to go all the way around, boom, CV, and then you're just going to grab that and make another wall shape, right? And then you can obviously, you know, you can put references for Windows. But then when you export this out, you're basically going to get your four walls, right? I'll just demo it actually. This is how easy it is. Right, so let's just say this is your, you know, let's just say this is your house, right? And let's just make it slightly more interesting by creating a need to zoom in a bit, I think, because I'm trying to, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. Let's just say we're going to create that as a doorway, right? Okay. Very, very simple. So you've done the whole layout of the house, the internal walls, external walls, everything. Okay, you're going to export this out. Let's just stick it. We only want the selected. Selection only. So there's our four walls. I'm going to export that out. I'm just going to call this house plan. Right. We saved the SVG. I'm going to import that SVG file. House plan, import. Okay, we need to scale it up a bit because SVG files tend to be a little bit small. So at the moment, it's very small, but there we go. Let's just say you want to resize it to about there. Right. Okay. Apply the scale. So these are three objects. Control J. Let's join them together. No. Convert to mesh. Extrude. Okay. Please tell me that's quick. You know, I didn't do that with any particular thing, but you know, each one of these is a separate separate wall, you know. I didn't join them when I was in the, before I saved them as an SVG file. But that's how easy it is. And I've seen people trying to make houses in Second Life with Prim, and they will spend days trying to line things up, trying to make the house look like a house in Second Life. My soup is going cold. But yeah. Each one of these is a separate object. You know, I didn't line them up, I didn't join them, I didn't do anything. if I'd gone back into here and joined all these together and made them into one object, either at the moment they're four separate objects and I didn't particularly line them up very well. You know, if I combined all of them, that's now one object. Okay, that's it. If I bring that into Second Life, sorry, into Blender now and extrude it, it's, you know, it kind of all comes down to how you work, you know. It's all about how you work and how you what is it you want to do. You know, if you work really well with vector graphics to create the idea, the concept of what it is you want to build really fast, then you can build up on that in Blender. I'm all about what works, you know. Okay, let's just leave that open for now because I might want to go back in there again. Right, let's go into my oh yeah, this was something else that I kind of zipped into. Oh, let me demonstrate now. I know I'm kind of going on about other people, but these people that I follow, Blender tutorials on YouTube, they are consistently the people that I keep going back to, watching their videos over and over again because I learn so much from them. Another person that I highly rate is a guy called Curtis Holt. Right, let me show you his YouTube channel. Right, this is his YouTube channel, Curtis Holt. Again, highly recommend that you look at his stuff. He's produced some amazing tools, you know, node tools for Blender, and I mean the level of depth that this chap goes into. But again, he's very good at teaching. He's very good at covering all those little details that I have found before, and I've spoken to other people on Twitch, you know, where you watch a tutorial and you think, how did you do that? And you rewind it. When you have to keep rewinding a tutorial like 10, 20 times in order to see what someone did, I think they're not a very good teacher, you know, because they make assumptions that people actually know how to do things or everything that they know, and that's just not, you know, not always so good. Now Curtis obviously he's got kind of about a third, just under a third. Grant Abbott is a teacher and he produces courses for Blender. Curtis Holt, I think, does some kind of courses, but he produces quite a few tools. And this is something that I wanted to demonstrate today. So one of his tools I really, really like. This is interesting. Now, why haven't I got my assets? Okay, it's very interesting. Come on. Oh, come on. Asset browser. Right, so one of the tools that he's produced is, and I use it because of the steampunk, right? So one of the things that makes stuff look steampunkish is the fact that it's got grunge on it, right? And it's got dirt on it, and it looks like it's been reused 20 times, you know, stuff like that. So I love this tool that he produced. So basically what you do is now kind of an asset. You can drop that onto an object and it produces this amazing effect of grunge, right? So you get this kind of effect, this kind of mucky, rusty looking, muddy kind of grunge, and it simulates dirt and dust and grunge accumulating in corners of objects, right? My soup is now cold, so I'm gonna have to eat it. But I love this effect. He produces a free version, but also a paid version that only costs like $5 or something. I mean, it's stupid cheap, really. Now, very quickly, so you throw the grunge on there. You now go into the shading, and you've got this, right? Now, there is no material. Well, there is the only material that's on there is called grunge. So I didn't have another material on there. So what you would do now? See, I love all this kind of rough. It's really good. I just love the effect. Now, it really does make things look grimy. What you can do now is add a image texture in here. If I open up a stone, I think I've got stone. Okay, what if I just say walls or stone? What I'm looking for is kind of a stonework type thing. So I don't want anything too complicated. Just like a concrete. Okay, so let's just pick that one, right? Okay, so what you would do is you'd stick obviously that texture on there first, and then the grunge is over the top. Now obviously this is not. Yeah, okay, so we're going to make a really grungy pillar. The UVs on this are a bit crazy. That's why it's looking all a bit mad. So if I select those UVs, pick islands, pick these islands. So this is kind of a grungy texture anyway, right? But the beauty with the ambient grunge is that it kind of makes it look 3D realistic by putting dirt or grime in where you would expect it to be, which would be. Let's see if I can. I think this goes this way round, but we'll see. I know the textures are a bit. I haven't done this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that looks. Ooh, no, that's not good, is it? Oh, I've done that wrong again, haven't I? Anyway, so what I didn't do is that. Very quickly. Let's just try and make this look somewhat respectable and like. Get that about the same. It's not going to be perfect because I'm not spending too much time doing this, but let's just throw that and that on there, for instance, right? There we go. Oh, okay, the texturing lineup is pretty naff, but you get the general idea, right? You get the general idea. It makes the pillar look like really old, if that's the kind of effect that you're looking for. Yeah, I suspect that these you know what I find really irritating, right? See how I've got seams on here? Maybe I don't need this seam. Let's take that seam off. Clear seam. Right? What I find really quite irritating is... there's a seam there as well. Why is there a seam there? Interesting. Clear seam. Okay. Okay. But it's still not right though, is it? Because it's still got something in the middle. Which is really quite interesting. I hate UV unwrapping. I really do. I wish there was a way, angle based. No, I mean, that kind of does work, but it's made a real mess of the UVs. Follow active quads. No. That kind of works. That's interesting. Yeah, that kind of works. So if we grab this, move it somewhere where it's not too... Okay. Isn't that interesting? There you go. Okay. So anyway, that I like his product. I started off with his free one, and then I bought the, because I do use it now for my steampunk residence. I use this on nearly everything. The beauty of it is that if you go to the shading, the beauty of this is that you can adjust the strength levels, right? So you can adjust the muck scale, for instance. You can make it like really big. And you can go right over the top of this stuff. The range, the clean up the ambient occlusion. You can increase that as well. You can increase the muck level. So you can go like really over the top. I don't know whether Second Life is back up and running again properly. With the frame rates were just ridiculous. They were less than 10. I was getting less than 10 frame rate. But as you can see, I like the effect. I like the effect. It's very nice. And it really does make things look like they're a lot older than they really are. So yeah, that's a good little tool. So Curtis Holt. Let's open our steampunk residence. What else did I do? Oh yeah, okay. So this is something else I'm actually working on. I'm just going through random stuff at the moment. Stuff that I'm working on at the moment. Again, I've made several models with arches. Okay. Gothic arches. And again, I saw some excellent tutorials years ago, and I remembered how to do it. So I started this off from scratch, and of course I made, I've made arch windows and frames, and so everything that I learned from that I applied to this model. And again, it turned out a hell of a lot better. So what I made was a kind of a um, gothic sort of not a tunnel, but something you'd see underneath a building, right? Something you'd see under a really old church or something. The vaults of an old building, and I used this technique. So I wanted to make some pillars and got sidetracked making that pillar, but it's not appropriate for this particular style of building. But so I want to make pillars for this, and then create another like a maze, a Gothic arch maze. But yeah, again, pretty low, 336 faces. Brought it into second life, 1 land impact. So that worked out really well. My steampunk residence. Right. I've done a lot of work since the last time I streamed this. And I reworked quite a lot. I was going to stream, but it was pretty mundane and pretty boring. So I'd created all these trellises around the top for the verandas. I reworked all of the windows, right? I redid all the windows, and the reason why I did that, we've got this zooming thing problem again. Why did I rework them? Okay, now you'll see. When I've watched other people, I used to do, I kind of did booleans, and I created an archway, and then I designed the window in the same arch format. And it wasn't until I saw a couple of videos relatively recently that did windows, right, with this kind of level of detail, but they made them rectangular or square. Okay. And I thought, like, and of course, they did all this, and so I did the geometry correctly. And brought the face count down quite a lot. and it wasn't until I understood what was quite interesting was I was recently in the car around Oxford, and I happened to notice that actually in real life, windows are designed. A lot of the really old, hundreds of years old windows are designed like this. Unlike modern windows that just have a frame. So even the modern style arched windows, which there is a building being built at the moment, they didn't do it this way, right? But the old buildings did it this way. So they did it in kind of a rectangular form and built the window frame and everything on the inside of this kind of block of stone, I guess, which I thought was quite interesting. And when I saw a couple of videos of how to do this, obviously in Blender, I thought, wow, okay, that's actually quite neat. Now, the beauty of that is that when you, what I call punch a hole, in which is one of the things I need to do, is I had punched this through using a Boolean, showed that on another video, going all the way through the building and out the other side, and then obviously I made it exactly the same size as the arch windows. It's much better from a because if we look at this, you've not only got all these faces on the inside, but then you've got very strange you've got very strange edges going everywhere, right? You know, that's the edge because that it needs to do that in order to connect up, you know, all that kind of thing. So if you, it sort of creates Boolean faces everywhere. Not Boolean faces, what am I talking about? Ngon faces. So yeah, this was quite interesting. You know, I mean, look at that. That's kind of crazy, really. Of course, again, it brings the face count down, but it also makes the cut into another object cleaner. When it's rectangular or square, it's got four corners rather than it being an arch. So so I'm still trying to drink my soup. So that was a learning. So one of the things I need to do is to cut this into the main body of the house. I'm going to use this nice little technique now that I didn't know you could do. Hiding, right? So I'm going to select all these faces here. Okay. It's probably not going to look particularly good, is it? Actually, can I? There was the way that this person did this was, I'm pretty sure they went like this. I'm pretty sure they went something like that, and then they went, oh yes, there we go. Right. That's how they did it. Okay. So I've got rid of all the physics for this building because I'm going to do it from scratch. So I tidied up the stairs here. I've tidied up all the windows. And I created the spiral staircase. I redid the spiral staircase, and it basically goes all the way up. Okay. I think I've lost my So how did he do this again? He went something like this and selected the objects that he wanted to basically cut the faces off. Or actually, what you could do is select the whole lot. Go like that. Go into that mode. Select nothing, and then just like chop all of that off. I'm pretty sure. Right? And then you can... Oh, no, okay. No, okay, that's not going to work, is it? Ah, there we go. Right, okay, so you have to do it in edit mode. Okay, and it only works in edit mode. Right. It only works in edit mode. Right, okay, got... Oh, no. Ah, okay. This is how I do the cutouts before. Of course, now I don't need any of that. I am not going to do that anymore. Another learning. So anyway, I did the spiral staircase. Spiral staircase goes all the way up. Again, I brought it into Second Life. Why does that look like it's got something inside it? Oh, is that my original staircase? Yeah, it is. The original staircase, which I no longer need. Delete this staircase that I don't really need. I think there's still a bit that goes up the top here. No, there isn't. Okay. Yeah, so I seriously organized into collections the various parts of this building as well. Split everything up into sort of more manageable chunks. Yeah. Let's delete those pieces. Hide this. So yeah, let me just go back into here. So this is obviously what is that? Do I need this? Probably not. So this is obviously my inspiration, and so I'm going to be using that grunge, ambient grunge, on this building, and the texturing I think is going to be pretty simple in as much as it's going to be this kind of brown, coppery, kind of rusty texture, which I might vary a little bit, and then apply the ambient grunge, and I just know it will look very similar to this. It will, you know, the color will look very similar. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Again, I think I might call it a day. I might call it a day with regard to this. I'm kind of getting kind of tired now. How streamers go for 12 hours or 8 hours at a time, I really don't know. I mean, how long have I been going? 3 hours, 40 minutes. I mean, that's just, you know, that's quite a lot. You've been listening to my boring voice for that length of time. Or not. I have downloaded a couple of little tools. One called Dream UV. UVs are my nemesis. If you're using plain textures, right? Plain textures with adding something like the ambient grunge, right? It's fine. It's perfect, right? There isn't, you know. I seem to have lost my. I'm sure I had this in my default file, but it seems to have gone. My asset browser has disappeared from the bottom by default. I don't know why, but anyway, so my ambient grunge. So I think it will look really, really good. And the other thing that I wanted to do, so jobs that I've got to do on this to finish this residence off, which I'll do on another stream for sure. I might do it tomorrow, actually. I I need to cut the rectangular, holes in each of the buildings. And after that, really, the thing left to do is texturing on here. So I might do a day of texturing, UV unwrapping and texturing, and possibly also making the physics to go into Second Life. But and I would also like to add some imperfections to this building as well, because it's too clean. I think it would look better once there's textures on there, but I would like to try and make it at least look like it's a little bit kind of old and antique-y and whatnot. So, potentially sort of altering, like I did stairs. I might do that with the stairs, make it look make it look worn. But the texturing is going to be quite nice, and I've got some amazing textures that I'm going to use in this building, especially at the top, kind of what I'm calling the observatory floor. Really, it's kind of, like the top of a lighthouse. And I'm going to see if I can try and use them on the inside. The outside will look quite a lot like the reference. But the inside, I want to make it look really kind of gothic stroke, steampunkish. Okay, I might call it a day there. If you've got this far, I don't know what else to say. I'm actually really, I love streaming, and I love streaming Blender and Second Life and stuff like that. I know we couldn't do Second Life today, but I love teaching what I know and things that I've learned, and stuff that maybe you can't find on on YouTube, you know and of course my focus is generally on what you can bring into Second Life. I'm not just making models for Blender only. There is always the pressure to bring down land impact when you bring in stuff into Second Life. And I did think about sort of this detail here, whether I should put that around the bottom of here on this floor or not. I don't know. Don't think it needs it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this far. If you have stayed the whole 3 3/4 hours, thank you very much. And I will try and stream again. I might be able to do it tomorrow. But yeah, I will stream again soon, and we'll focus on my nemesis of UV unwrapping, UV unwrapping and texturing. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.